Wings, listen up. Today's run is vitally important to our cause. Set your frequencies to Dice Time, a Star Wars Legion podcast and part of the Legion Academy Collective. Your lead wing captain today will be Ben Jetron, and your support ship leader will be Paul Watson. Let's show them what we're made of, rebels.
Hello everybody, welcome to Dice Time. I'm Ben Jetron, and soon we'll be calling Paul Watson as we're going to be doing a spectacular show for you today. I would have waited until he showed up, but we are definitely rolling over a couple ticks past where I would have liked to have started, so I'm going to try to radio him in now real quick. We've got a full show for you today that's going to be really fun, and I'm just wondering why he's not here, if he's flaking on me or what's going to be the deal. Let me see. So I'm currently on Bespin, which is in the famous Cloud City, where I gave Paul these coordinates and I gave him the platform, and I don't know where he is. Paul, can you hear me? Hello?
Ben?
Yeah. Hey, there you are. I got you. Hey, man, where are you at? I'm on the platform waiting for you.
The platform? What? I'm at the coordinates.
There's no platform here, Ben.
Paul, Cloud City is nothing but platforms. I don't know where you are, but it's totally wrong.
Cloud City? Ben, I'm on Hoth.
You're on Hoth?
Yeah,
Okay.
man, it's cold here.
I don't know why you would have thought that I would have wanted to do a show on Hoth. Okay, well, that's great. I guess find a place to get warm and stay on the frequency, and I guess we're doing the show remote today.
I'm going to go try to find some shelter real quick.
Okay, well, while you do that, I'm going to run through today's topics. Tonight, we're basically going to be going through the Friday Night Fights League. So that is the first TTS league that Friday Night Fights has ever done, and it's going to be groundbreaking and epic. Your two favorite podcast co-hosts are going to be involved as well, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And then after that, we're going to be looking at the Shadow Collective teases that have come out so far. So we've got revealed what's going to be included in the boxes that are going to be coming out in that wave, what all is going to be in that wave, and how maybe some of these mercenaries are going to work. Because the new mercenaries reworks have also been teased in that wave as well. And then coming up after that, we'll go ahead and see how, we'll see if Paul wants to regale any of his fun tales from Adepticon, because Adepticon was a big week for Legion, but it was also a big week for Paul. So we'll see how that goes. Paul, you want to dive into the league, as it's been formally named?
Yeah, now that I'm out of the wind and cold here,
I'm so sorry about that.
We're going to have to figure out how to get back together sometime soon, but
yeah,
let's make the best of this situation and talk about the league a little bit. I'm excited. It's going to be fun to play some people that I have not interacted with before. So I think that's the big thing that I'm excited about.
Yeah, a lot of this seems very similarly structured to Invader League, as far as like just to give it a pitch to people who haven't heard of what's going on. So Friday Night Fights is doing a TTS league, a tabletop simulator league for Legion. And mostly it's kind of structured similarly to Invader League from what I can tell. I don't have like everything mapped out in front of me of how it works, but I know that there's a round robin, like we're already in pods for like a round robin, and then it'll go to a bracket and it'll come down. I think the main difference is basically the administration of who's running it. So obviously, since this is done by Friday Night Fights, it's mostly being administered by Sean Morris, of Friday Night Fights. So, I'm looking forward to that, because if you haven't watched Friday Night Fights, Sean is an amazing manager. He definitely does an excellent, superb job of multitasking, keeping track of millions of things all at once, and making sure that it's all done properly. Cue the roll of every time there's been a technical screw up on Friday Night Fights while I say that. Epic B-roll for that quote. But, yeah.
I was going to say, I think the one thing that is stuck in my mind from the talks that have gone on with it is one of the things that, and I will say this up front, that I have not participated in any Invader League events yet. So the one thing that I have heard about it is, especially in the pods early on, is that there would be a lot of people who would drop because they, just they knew they couldn't get in because only so many people from the pod would make it into the bracket and all of that. And the one thing that has been in the conversations that I have seen about something a little different for the Friday Night Fight one is there's incentive to play your game. Like, so you are going to get points for just showing up and playing.
Yep.
To keep people, engaged in playing rather than feeling like you have to drop and you can't make it anymore.
Right.
Yeah. And some things that I've heard, and again, like the final piece of it, I'm not running it, but it seemed like the end result is going to be just shifting the pods around and kind of like starting over then. So you will get to play with different people and do the same kind of thing, and just get to have some good games with people that are part of our community that we see show up to Friday Night Fights, who are listening to our show here. Other people from the Legion community who are participating. And it'll just be fun to have some nice games. I know, my pod is, the Hoth pod, and, I have guys from all over the world in mine. I have a guy from Australia in mine. I have a guy from, the UK in mine. And then, here I am in the Midwest United States. And so we are just like all over the world, and we're going to have some fun times. It'll be nice to see, and I will say in my pod too, there are people who have talked about, like the one guy said he's never played a game on TTS at all.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and there was a guy, I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly, he was also saying that he was fairly new to Legion itself.
Wow.
So it's awesome to have like, a newer player there. There was another guy who said, yeah, I haven't played on TTS very much, but I play in person. So there's going to be a lot of, new going on within the pod. And it'll be nice to just have, a relaxed game. We're figuring stuff out, just helping people. Like I said, that one guy who seems to be fairly new in my pod, it'll be good just to have some games and, answer any questions that come up.
Yeah.
And TTS is much different than in person. So there's some interesting things that pop up on TTS. There's some really nice maps on TTS as well. So, there's a lot of good stuff that, I'm excited to see. Personally, I'm liking the pods being labeled as planets. It makes me, especially as soon as I heard I was on Hoth, I was like, oh man, I feel like I have to make a Hoth themed army now. So
did you get your list submitted already?
I have not submitted it. I need to.
I was going to say you're due. I think they're due tomorrow.
Yeah, I
tomorrow as the time of recording, I should say. They're due. By the time this episode airs, they will have already been due, and the round will have already begun. So
I did make a list, and I guess I could just like say what I'm kind of planning on. One of the things I want to do in this league is, I've been known previously to bring a lot of supports and like supports. So
the support hipster.
Yeah, I'm planning to try to bring triple supports in every list that I make for this entire league.
Until they get banned.
Yes, until they get banned. But I'm also trying to bring the ones that you don't see very often. So, for instance, to start, want to do triple supports, want to do a Hoth theme. So I decided to go with a Luke Skywalker, triple vets, triple Mark IIs and triple FD cannons.
Did you listen to Brian Bear when they had him on the Friday Night Fights podcast recently?
I have not heard that one yet. No,
he took triple FDs to Adepticon and finished like really well.
Oh yeah. They're not terrible. You just again, it's one of those things that you just don't see very often, right?
No.
So
with all things in Legion, if you want it to get better, just bring more.
Yeah.
Apparently FDs work with that too.
I will say that everything in my list, I have Luke, Commander Luke, but all three of the vets and all three of the FDs all have HQ uplinks, so like perfect activation control every turn.
What?
That's
like 100 points of HQ uplink.
Well, the Mark IIs don't have them. The vets and FDs. But
that's still like 60 points of HQ uplink.
60 points of HQ uplink.
Good lord.
It's hilarious. No,
God.
I just want to do some fun stuff. Like,
so if you're looking to counter Paul's list, just bring a bunch of comm jammers and melee units.
Just mess with me, yeah. No, it'll be a good time. I'm excited to just have some fun games, and especially after, we had some intense games going from Yavin-based Team League at the end there, right? So, I'm ready for some, a step back games, and honestly from Adepticon, just a lot of games that I played, very intense. The competition is great there. But I'm ready for some relaxing games.
And I think that that's going to be seen a lot in this league, because I know that this isn't the Invader League crowd how it's become now. I think Invader League has become, it's a mix of competitive and then new players who are just coming into Invader League looking to find what Invader League has done for other people.
Right.
I don't want to say that it was built as a competitive league, but it's kind of become like the tabletop simulator standard for a competitive online league. I don't know if I want to definitely hard rule that, but it's kind of felt that way, at least from what I hear from other people talking about it. Obviously, I have not played in it since season 3. I played one season of it. I thought it was fun. I had my fun. I tried to sign up for another season, and then I didn't sign up right or something, and something got passed, and it was just oh, you signed up 99% of the way right, but then you didn't do this, so you're on the waiting list now. And I'm at that point I'm good. So I'm just don't worry about it. And then I haven't been back since. Not to discredit anybody who's running Invader League or anything like that, but that was just my experience. So this is going to be a lot. I feel like it's going to be more casual, because it's pretty much just 42 players, I think was the announced number. I could be wrong, but I know it was at least 40. It wasn't too much after 40. Got confirmed for wanting to play, and you're not completely incentivized to just win the whole thing or bust. There's not prizes for top 1. There's not prizes for top 5. There's prizes that are going to be able to be won by anybody, first off. So if you're really just doing this for prizes, you can finish wherever you want. You don't even have to make the bracket, and you can still win something based on the number of games you played, like you were saying earlier, for example, for participation. And there's just stuff like that being a confirmed player in this league, I think has you in the running for some random giveaways that they're going to be doing later on. So that's fun. That incentivizes me to just play and not care what my streak is.
Yeah, I want to say it was one of the things I thought that I heard, and not 100% on this, but I think it was something along the lines of just playing your game is going to give you a point or something like that, and then for each point you will be put into the drawing or something like that. Yeah. So again, it's
something like that.
Every game you play is going to get you into those kind of random drawings and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. And
they have different themes of stuff they want to do. I don't remember what they are, but it's stuff don't quote me on this, but it's stuff most most thematic army, or like most what's the one that I've seen tournaments do, like most best sport or something like
Yes.
that, you know, like
Yeah,
those.
absolutely.
I think they have things like that also planned in. I just don't remember what they are right now. But
Right.
I think they have stuff like that are also planned. So that incentivizes you to just come in and, you know, be you, or just come in and run fun stuff. Or in Paul's case, do both. Also in my case, because by the time that this cast drops, like, I don't care who knows. So obviously, like, everyone knows that I was the predecessor of the Ladies' Night list. So I sadly can't say that I've got a new faction version of it ready yet, because I'm still waiting on AMG to release 1 or 2 more characters. But I will say that I took the list that I won my Worlds invite with, and I updated it for today's point cost. Because fun fact, Paul, that list that I won my Worlds invite with in today's meta is 751 points.
Wow.
For 750 something points. And I was like, and that's all I needed. So now I just get more.
Yep.
So I think I threw some heavies on some rebels and called it a day. No, I definitely swapped some upgrades around, because I've had a lot more experience and with, like, the upgrades that I want on all 3 ladies in that list. So Leia has vigilance now. Jin, I think, has duck and cover and maybe one less upgrade. I don't remember now. And then Sabine has a whole different array. Sabine and I just change every couple months. It's like, I want to run you with this profile, and then it's like 2 months later, I'm like, I want to run you with this profile now, and we just constantly change. But I will be running what's called Ladies' Night Remastered. So
nice.
That is going to be something to look forward to. I sicked it on one of our new players in the when he wanted an 800 point game at our local store, and I just brought Ladies' Night Remastered, and he was just like, holy heck, this is what Rebels can do? I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, Rebels have some fun stuff.
Rebels can do Rebel shenanigans.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like there was something... Oh, I was going to say in my pod, I'm in the Bespin pod. That is the planet that my pod was named, and I don't know where my other 2 people are from. I feel like they're also either Midwest or Canada. So I don't think there's a huge time discrepancy there. I could be totally wrong on that. I could be absolutely wrong. Someone could be from Australia, and I wouldn't know. So sorry to my other 2 teammates. I will get to know you during the round robin on a personal level, I promise. But the 4th person is none other than our Yavin-based Team League Team Lackluster captain, Jace. And so I think Jace and I are set to, like, start our pod off on Monday.
Of course.
At the time of recording, which is going to be, like, maybe the day after this releases, if I release on time at this rate. Because he was like, who's open Monday night? I'm like, shoot, Jace, I'll do it. I was like, let's go. And I keep egging Jace on, being like, he loaded this pod. He wanted to be in this pod with me because he wants to beat me get his revenge for all the games of Yavin base that I lost this season. Cause for anyone who didn't know, we went Lackluster finished 2nd in Champions Circle, which congratulations to everyone in Champions Circle. I had wonderful games with everybody. Everyone did amazing. All the games that I heard about and watched, everything sounded great. Congrats to the winning team as well. I personally, my track record shows that I had a terrible season. I didn't win a single game after we hit Champion Circle. If you want to track, Paul, for anyone tracking along at home, Ben opened Hero League really well. He won every single game up until we got to the last couple. I think the last 2 rounds in Hero League I lost my games. And then after hitting Champion Circle, I lost every single game. So there's a feel for where Ben's skill level is, in case you were wondering. But I am looking forward to playing in this league first off to kind of redeem myself for TTS games in general, but also because I know that it's just going to be for fun, and all the people in here, it's going to feel more like Hero League again, where everyone's just kind of here having fun. I don't think anyone's getting super competitive with it, as far as I know. And but yeah, I was saying that because I was like, Jace loaded the pod. Jace wants to beat me up for for losing all my games. He's like, beat the crap out of Ben now, and then I'll feel better about it. And yeah, so expect that to happen. Expect me to tell the horror story of how I lost coming up soon. But yeah, so the league's going to be fun. Do you have anything else to talk about the league before we move on?
No, I don't think so. I'm just excited to see how it goes and be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm stoked. What I'm almost as stoked as our next topic though, which is going to be the Shadow Collective boxes, and everything that's coming out in this wave has been given a release date of target release June. That's not target the retail, that's just target where they're aiming. Because when I first saw that, I was like, it's a Target exclusive? What? And I was like, oh, right. I've been in the Funko Pop game too long. So they're looking to release all of this stuff sometime around June. And if you've not been, seeing all the news pages and all the leaks and images that have been coming out, let me tell you all what's coming out in this wave. I think there's 7 different things. So there's the Shadow Collective starter set. That's one. Then there's the individual boxes of a Pike unit, a Black Sun unit, Mercenary Super Commandos, or Mandalorian Super Commandos, sorry. Those are 3 boxes there, 3 separate boxes. Then there's Gar Saxon, in his Clone Wars, Shadow Collective working for Maul attire. And then there's the Essentials kit. And then there's the Upgrade Card Pack 2. I think that's everything, Paul. Tell me if I missed something. But I think that's everything coming out this June.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Well, June until it gets pushed back 2 more months. And then 4 months, 6 months, and then 2023. I'll be super sad when that happens. Don't give me the Kashyyyk wave treatment again, please.
Yeah, let's hope that it's not that. I'd be okay with June.
So I would be more than okay with June. So the starter set is coming with 22 minis. It is coming with Maul, a unit of Pike Syndicate, a unit of Black Sun, and a unit of Mandalorian. I don't know why I keep saying mercenary. It's probably because I'm too excited. Mandalorians. And that's going to have 22 minis in it. That should be 7 minis per unit and then 1 Maul, which you'll be able to build with either a double saber or 1-hand lightsaber and 1 dark saber, which that's how I'm making mine. Because the more units I can squeeze a dark saber in on this game, the more the better.
Do we have the price point on that?
I don't think there's price points on anything yet. I'm guessing it's going to be my guess is going to be like 70 or 80. Like full core set almost.
But it doesn't come with all the stuff, right?
No,
it doesn't come with the
this
measuring
is not a core
tools. Set. It doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
This is not a core set. This is just the minis and the unit cards. The unit cards, the upgrades for those units, and the minis.
Which is why they have that essentials kit, right?
Right.
Because then you can get that on top of this box and
if you wanted
have
to
essentially a core set.
Yeah, if you wanted to make this a core set, you would then also buy the Essentials kit, which it gives you, for anyone who hasn't seen this and doesn't know, imagine a core box, right? Imagine a core set for Legion that you've already bought or that you plan to buy. Now take all the minis and the unit cards out of it, and that's the Essentials kit. So it's the dice, it's the tokens, it's the objective tokens, it's the victory tokens, the unit IDs, the deployment markers, the round counter, the movement tools, the range tools, 6 generic, or not 6, it should be 7 or 8 generic command cards, like standing orders and then pips 1 through 3 with no effect, and then the battle deck. So that's the Essentials kit. Don't have a price point on anything that we talk about today, so don't expect those. But if you wanted to make the starter set for the Shadow Collective into a core set, you would just also buy the Essentials kit. Before we go on, Paul, just quick touch on the Essentials kit. At first I was thinking like maybe this is a good buy for people that just want to buy into one faction, but that is going to be a really shaky decision, based on what this price point actually shakes out to. Because if this is because if the Essentials kit ends up being more than $20, which I'm guessing it will be, I'm guessing it's probably going to be 30 or 35 is my realistic guess. But if it ended up being like 20 or 25, I would suggest it to people who wanted to like start their own faction and not want anything that's currently locked behind a core box. So what I mean by that is like if you wanted to start droids, but you didn't want General Grievous, like you knew you were like, I don't even like Grievous as a character. Like
you don't want Grievous or B1s.
Right.
You just, you want to do like all B2s maybe. Like,
maybe if you wanted to do that. I just mean like stuff that you can't, like the only things I'm talking about are like General Grievous and Obi-Wan. Everything else you could buy. If you just knew that you didn't want General Grievous, you're like, I'm never going to play General Grievous. I'm only going to play Count Dooku. Like, okay, so just get Count Dooku, get the droids that you want, and then get the Essentials kit is what I would recommend if I knew what this price point was on this Essentials kit. Because if it's too much, you might as well buy a core set because it's going to end up being cheaper.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know what the target audience for the Essentials kit is beyond someone wanting to turn their Shadow Collective starter set into their core box. I really don't know who is going to buy that.
I could see if you had people, like two people, you and a buddy, say me and you don't play Legion. We don't have any of this stuff. And we're going to get into it and we want to do, we just want to play skirmish, right?
Yeah.
So you and I decide that we're going to split a Galactic Civil War starter set.
Uh-huh.
You want Rebels, I'm going to take Empire.
Okay.
Then it might be good if we're just buying one kit to buy that Essentials, right? Because then you would have all the rulers and range stuff. I would have all the tokens and range rulers and all that.
That's absolutely true.
And then you could actually divide it in half. But I think, again, most of the time, if you are splitting, you're probably buying two core boxes, right? And then you can split that anyway.
Okay, so but if you're not, because I actually know a lot of new players who are just buying one core box because, just because of money. They just want to soft try the hobby. I absolutely will go behind what you just said. So the Essentials kit is going to be a great buy for people that are splitting a core set who are both getting into this hobby. I think that's a good buy for them. That's a good point. And if
you think about it, you can get them. I think I've seen them on Amazon, like the Galactic Civil War one especially, for like $80 for the core set.
Yeah,
so if it's like 30, let's say it's 30 for the Essentials kit.
Okay.
Right? So we're looking at 110 now total. And then you cut that in half. You know what I mean? That's a doable price point to get into a miniatures game.
Yeah. That's like $60 roughly to get everything you need to start, which is actually really good.
It's really affordable to get in.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And you can play pretty close to the 500 point level, right?
Depending on the faction, and yeah.
Right. Droids are the only ones that like really just like can't stretch it, right?
I have seen droids actually win the core box game, but that's fine. It's not on average, I'll say that. So you want to probably talk to, your buddy if you wanted to get into this and you both wanted to get in and you wanted to pay roughly the same and then you both get the tools and stuff each. Yeah, I think that's a good buy because if this is 30 and we call it 110 or 120 or even 130, you're paying like $60, $70, which is the price of like your average 40K unit. First off, you're getting everything for the price of that. That's great.
It's still cheaper than a starter faction in other like GW games, right?
Yeah.
And you're getting enough to play 500 points, which is more than half of what a full game is, right? Whereas lots of those like start collecting boxes or whatever that GW have, you would need like 3 of those to even come close to having a full army played, the full game, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the price point is pretty decent still. And again, you're getting something very similar with the Shadow Collective, right? The new box coming out. You're getting the same kind of thing. You're getting what would fill that commander role. You have a couple of troop types, and then you have not a support like the other core boxes, but a special forces, right? So same kind of thing. You got 4 activations worth of guys, and their upgrades and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be solid. My guess, like you're talking about, is I'm guessing Shadow Collective is going to be a little more pricey for that box than the value is probably not going to be as good for sure as a core box, right? But there's some cool models in there, I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah. This is easily for me, I think, going to be like an $80 box.
Yeah, and I think you're still saving money buying that box.
Oh, you are.
Rather than buying them individually,
Oh,
right?
you absolutely are.
The value is still good there. If you're getting all the stuff, you want all of it, then that box is going to be the way to go, for sure.
And if you want 2 of everything, get a second starter set.
Or again, if you're like, let's say you
split it with a buddy is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sit down, we're like, you know what, I don't like the pikes very much. I want the Black Sun. And you're like, well, I'll take the pikes. I like them.
Yeah.
And so then let's just grab 2 of them. We'll split it. We'll trade some units around. We both get a Maul. We both get 2 of the unit that we want, and we both get a Mando unit. Like, still, like, again.
I call this an absolute win.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of room for that too, and sharing stuff and, getting in with a friend and things like that. So, I think they're continuing with that. I think it's good. I do like that this box is its own. The one thing about, those other core sets, right, is if you don't want both factions, like, you're essentially spending...
And you don't have someone to split with, you're
you're just kind of like holding on to half of a core set that you don't even really want. Whereas this is nice, right? It's just... You're getting just these units. If you want to play with just these guys, like, here you go. Here's your box. You're not getting anything else that you don't really want. So,
if we're lucky, this is they'll actually, maybe the points cost for everything, you could bring a list like this up to, you probably need another unit or 2 to play skirmish. I was like, maybe this is 500 points. Maybe you could just buy this and be ready for skirmish, but probably not.
I mean, it's gonna be close, right? Like, I mean, Maul's
but
gotta be at least like a Commander Luke, right? Like, that's at the cheaper end of those heroes that you start with. And the Mando unit has gotta be at least the price point of the Rebel Mando unit.
But I thought that too at first, but Maul's not gonna be Palpatine.
No, Maul, I don't think Maul's going to be 200 points.
But that's the thing. If you're playing a 4-act list in skirmish, you're playing it because you're playing Palpatine or you're playing Yoda.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you're playing a 4-act list in skirmish. Otherwise, you need a 5th act at least, I think, to really even stand up. So this is probably a starter set plus 1 more thing. But that's a little better than it is with the core set, where, like, if you're buying the core set, it's like, you need, like, 2 more things before you could play skirmish, probably. Depending on your faction. Especially if you're droids, then you need, like, 3 more things.
Yeah, if you're not, like, filling out all your activations with max upgrades and stuff, right? Which we all know is not, necessarily the way to go in Legion.
Hey, to be fair, Caleb's been learning the crap out of his, I called it, like, Core Box Deluxe list for Separatists.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it yet. I know I talked about it on the show. It was a T-Series, 4 B1 battle droids, and 2 unit of droidicas that are all, like, heavily decked out with upgrades.
Yeah.
So it's like, 4, 6, 7 acts, and it's, like, all pretty deadly if you use it right, and he's just learning to use it right. We played the other day, and I played Sabine skirmish, and, like, I was just looking to give him a good match. I played Lando Sabine for the first time, for skirmish,
Nice.
and I did not do well. He steamrolled me, and I was like, oh my god. He was like, my Drake has actually paid off. I'm actually learning stuff, and I was just like, good. I wish I could have given you a better game, but I was playing totally new stuff, and I played it all wrong. But he's definitely learning the ins and outs of those units and how to make all that stuff work. I know he wants to experiment with taking out the droidicas and throwing in spider droids, and I think that's a good call. So
yeah, spiders are really strong.
All right, so let's move on to these mercenaries that are going to be individually. So we could talk about, we already know how the pikes are going to work because we've got their unit cards spoiled before. Anybody who doesn't remember what those look like, we're going to circle back around to them once we get to like a little bit of theory talk. But the other thing that I'd like to quickly roll into is the upgrade card pack 2. So when this was initially named, I thought, sweet, that's a thing I can skip. Because I'm one of those dedicated Legion players. I've been buying just about everything for all 4 factions. I don't have any cards that are locked behind anything that I wouldn't want to buy. So I'm perfectly good skipping the card packs. I skipped the first one because I had everything that was in that pack. And I was like, I'll skip the second one, sure. Then they teased what's going to be in them. They're going to use card pack upgrade pack 2 to do the mercenary rework for the bounty hunters. So now I can't skip this box. Now I have to buy it. So that's good business right there.
They got you.
So yeah, they got me. So they don't have a full lineup of what cards are going to be in here, but I'm guessing this is going to be a lot of upgrades that we've seen previously in other units that have not been cross-faction compatible with everything. They're trying to do better about that, so I don't know. This could be all new upgrades for all I know, but I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of the same of what we've seen before. However, there are 4 cards that they have released that are all new. All 4 of these cards are new. So this is the new 3 unit cards for Cad Bane, Bosk, and Boba Fett. They don't have them fully revealed to show what keywords have changed. If there are weird erratas that they've changed with them and how much they've changed them, I don't know. If they're going to do that, I don't know. I feel like they will. To some degree, maybe. We'll see. And then a surprise out of left field, I don't know about you, Paul, but this was a complete surprise for me. The AA5 speeder truck has received a new card. It's been 95% spoiled. Everything has been shown. It looks the exact same as it does for the Rebels. It's 75 points listed on the card. But for the faction, it is shown the double-crossing axes, which I'm guessing is the freelance or the scum mercenary kind of, not mercenary, but the scum / freelance kind of faction symbol. Because next to it are 2 dots that are filled in gray, it's the only thing on the card we don't know. And I think that is the spot where it shows what factions can take this card. So if I had to speculate, Paul, I'm guessing it's going to be Rebels and the Scum faction. I don't know. Do you have a different take?
Yeah, no, that seems to be where that vehicle would fit in.
They just wanted to open it up to the Scum to also be able to take it, which I think is fair.
Yeah,
if anyone not beyond the Rebels were going to get it, I would think it should be Scum and probably no one else. I don't see any other faction thematically using the station wagon.
I agree. I feel like it fits. That truck I could just see rolling up and having a bunch of Pike Syndicate guys coming out of it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That thematically makes sense.
What I was not looking forward to was seeing that AA5 roll up on me, seeing the broken down, beat up station wagon roll out the corner, and then out steps Count Dooku. And I was like, please, God, that's so funny, but it's so terrible. Don't do it.
Instead, it'll be Maul, right? So.
Right. Oh, God, it could still be Maul. Oh, no, that's... All right. Moving on. Oh, one thing I should say, speaking of Maul, they did announce that there are going to be 3 new command cards for Maul in the box, and they are going to be releasing alongside his three CIS cards that are also included in the box. So there will be 6 command cards for Maul just in your starter set, and 3 of those.
So he's going to be taking on the role of like the Luke and Vader, right? Who
Yep. He's going to be right up there with them.
All 6 command, like your whole hand can just be command cards of his.
Yep. So I'm excited for that. That's cool. Sorry, Gar, you get nobody. You get no 6 card people. You suck.
Yep. Apparently.
Yeah. Except when we get Ahsoka, then everyone will be jealous. So we're waiting.
Well, I mean, the next one that would make sense, right? And I guess cross faction a little bit is when they make Old Man Ben. They probably could do the command cards there, right? Have 3 command cards that Obi-Wan could use.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
That'd be fun. And then make Obi-Wan the Gar 6 command card faction unit or spearhead. Or bring him back in the game.
They could do the same thing with Yoda.
Yeah, they could do it with Yoda too. I personally have never really wanted to see Ghost Yoda or old Hermit Yoda on the Rebels side because I'm like, you don't fit here. You weren't in the rebellion. I could see it Obi-Wan. I'm fine with that. Yoda, I don't want to see Ghost Yoda or Hermit Yoda in the rebellion. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I feel like they'd have to make like a very like specific like
a scenario.
Yeah, scenario or like army building rules that like if you're taking, Force Ghost Yoda, you can only take like certain characters or something.
Well, they did like a battle force for
Yoda.
Yeah. Can only be taken in this battle force. That'd be funny. Anyway, so back to the upgrade card pack 2. So we showed off the AA5. That means, Paul, that we're going to be able to be we're going to be space Ubers again. We're gonna be able to rent out our AA5 to the Scum faction. So we're gonna make double the money.
Let's do it.
Getting the staff job, double the money.
And then maybe we can make enough money to get another one.
Another AA5. Ooh. Let's see if we can even continue completing the payments that we have for this one first. That's a pipe dream.
It is.
Show restraint. We must show restraint. Anyway, so Cad Bane, Bossk, and Boba Fett have all been said that they're going to be released in this new card pack as well, and that they're going to be mercenaries. So what has been shown on their card is their name, and the fact that their corner identity faction thing is a credit symbol, which I'm guessing is going to be for mercenaries. So anyone who is for hire is going to have one of those little credit symbols in the corner. And the leak that we have is showing the back of the cards. So I'm guessing on the front of the cards, much like the AA5 has, it's going to have the credit symbol in the corner, and then it will have some circles showing what factions even have the ability to take them. And we don't know anything about Boba yet, but what has been confirmed already, days before this got recorded, was that Cad Bane and Bossk, or as the AMG streamer decided to name him Boosk, will be compatible with both the CIS and the Empire. So both of those are going to be able to be taken in both of those lists, or both of those armies.
Cad Bane.
Yeah, dude, don't get me started. Wait, 5 more minutes. Just wait. So we're going to be able to take those guys in those armies. And the last thing that's been revealed in here is the ability, how you're going to be able, I'm guessing the gateway of how you're going to be able to take those mercenaries in your list, which is an upgrade that has been shown, which is a command upgrade called Underworld Connections. So let me just read this off here. It is 5 points, not very expensive at all. And you gain allies of convenience. That's the key word. It is allies of convenience. And then in parentheses, your army may include one additional mercenary unit of any rank. You can issue orders to friendly mercenary units regardless of affiliation. So my guess is for you to be able to add Bossk to your CIS list is that you're going to have to give General Grievous, or I don't know. No, does General Grievous have a command upgrade? He should.
Yes,
I think he does. Or Count Dooku does, I think at the very least. You would give it makes more thematic sense for Count Dooku. You'd give Count Dooku this 5-point command upgrade, Underworld Connections, and then you could purchase Bosk in your CIS list. So that'll be fun. That's the gateway for how to get to mercenaries, and I'm gonna be doing the crap out of that because I love bounty hunters. They're my cup of tea.
Yeah, you could easily do that with like the generic commanders too, right?
Yeah, easily. Yeah, if you wanted to make Cad Bane the star of your list, you could just take a generic commander, give him Underworld Connections, and boom, there you go. You get your cheap upgrade commander out of the way for the requirement, and then you have your mercenary who's really the star of the show. Kit them out and make them good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll be able to do that with Boba if they reworked Boba to be really good. Cross my fingers. Boba might not be. We'll see how playable Boba is in June, and then I know at some point they've already shown the figure for it that they're doing like a Mandalorian Boba, like how he is in the Mandalorian show, and that I'm sure is going to be playable by Rebels. I bet
That'd be cool.
And then B is probably going to come with 3 new command cards for Boba, so he's probably going to take the 6 card step up like we've been talking about for like Luke and Vader and Maul.
Yeah, that would be
excellent,
hope, right? Because
that'll bring Boba back.
For a very long time, Boba's 3 cards have just been a little lacking, right?
Yeah.
They're not bad. It's just they're just not as good as other stuff that you could have instead.
I think they're too situational and they don't bring enough of a boom to the show that the rest of the cards do. Like compare his backpack rocket card to like Tactical Strike. Or not even compared to Tactical Strike. Compare it to Concussive Blast.
I was going to say, even just compare it to the other bounty hunters. Let's think about Bosk, who came out shortly after his. Okay, you got the rocket launcher, or you have Bosk's 3-pip, which can give him up to
10 aims.
10 aims.
Yeah.
Like, it's just auto-crit everything. Like, you know, and then the same thing, you go down the line, like Boba's 2 is flamethrower, Bosk's 2 is a double attack. Double attack seems good, right? Like,
you know what would be super cool if they did for Bosk? If they reworked his unit card around to give him marksman.
That'd be interesting.
Would that be too busted? Am I breaking Bosk right now by asking for that? Because I would love to see that lying in wait turn, like where you have those 10 aims. I see people just re-rolling white dice 10 times and getting blanks, and I'm just like, that sucks. Wouldn't it be great if you had 10 aims and you just stacked them all up and you did literally get like 6 crits in that shot?
This just came to mind as you were talking about that. What if at some point we saw some like Han and Chewie style cards for bounty hunters?
Well, that's funny you should say that. I was just going to mention that it says that there is, I'm unclear based on their wording, 1 new command card for all of them. And I don't know if that means 1 that any of the mercenaries can use, or if that's 1 Boba, 1 Bosk, and 1 Cad Bane new command card.
Sure.
But that's coming in the box. I don't know if that's 3 new cards, 1 per character, or if that's 1 card that all 3 of them have access to. But that's coming in the box as well.
Like, it'd be intriguing, right? Because, you know, thematically, Bosk helps out Boba, right?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see them have a card kind of like, you know, Chewbacca has with, you know, Han, Leia, Luke.
Yeah.
You know, like just a 1 card that you can put in with it, but you're going to have to take both of the bounty hunters to make it work, you know, to its full potential.
I think I talked about this maybe with Bob. I don't remember if it was with Bob or with you, but I remember on one of these shows we were talking about like coming out with more teamwork cards.
Yeah.
Like that would be super fun.
They're really interesting and fun to try to use in your games.
Yeah, because there's lots of points in the shows in the movies and stuff where like 2 characters team up to do something epic or something crazy. Like,
absolutely
solidify that in a card, or like show that Bosk and Boba have a cool relationship. Make a card called if you have a problem with Boba, you have a problem with me, and make Bosk give them teamwork for a round. Like that's it. Just do that. That would be sick.
And then you can expand that even more as I'm assuming new characters are going to come out, right? Like, what if you have Mando and Boba and they have a card together? What if you know, or the, oh, now I'm going to draw a blank on her name. The bounty hunter in Mando that's always with.
Fennec?
Yes, Fennec.
Yeah.
Fennec and Boba, like, have a card together. Like, that would be awesome.
Dude, when are we getting Fennec for Legion? I need her to finish off, like, my CIS Ladies Night list. Cause, like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to Ladies Night for CIS.
Oh, yeah, the new stuff that's coming out, the new, kind of like faction stuff that's going on that's coming out here soon, just opens up a whole new world of all kinds of possibilities.
So speaking of a whole new world, let's go ahead and cut straight to, no, not to Disney. Well, yes, to Disney, but to Star Wars. Let's cut into some quick little, we're already doing some of it, but just some like speculation stuff here. So, sure. Paul, looking at the Pikes, you were talking a little pre-show, like how you were excited to see how the Pikes were going to be, kind of flipping the script on what we know. Are you excited to see, like, just talk a little bit about that, like just what you think, what you mean by that, like what you think they're going to do for the game, or what you think they're going to do. They're going to be able to be taken in all factions. Let me say that now. Pikes were confirmed, I believe, to be able to take in any faction. So, sure. You love Pikes, you can play them wherever you want.
Yeah, it's just interesting because I feel like, kind of like I was talking about with my, kind of fun Hoth list that I made that had all the HQ uplinks so I can have perfect order control, right? That is something in games now that I feel like when you're list building, you think about how much activation control do I have? How often can I make sure the unit that I want to go is going? And how detrimental is it going to be? Or am I just going to play through drawing from a random stack all game? Whereas I feel like, with the Pikes here, with their card that we have, that we've seen, that independent keyword is really interesting because, like you were saying, it flips the script, right? Right. It actually incentivizes you to not give them orders because then they get something for not having orders and getting put in that random stack, which I just feel like is such an interesting, like, design space. And you can even push that further, right? Like, if you look down at the capo for the Pike Syndicate, the leader mini that comes in, it also gives it independent surge 1. So if you put that on the same Pike unit, right, you're getting a dodge and a surge just for not giving them an order.
Right.
And if you're already running someone like Maul, who has all his command cards that are like just Maul, right? They just order him. You actually get kind of an advantage with your core troops, which is interesting, right? It's something different than we've seen typically. Typically it's like, well, I gotta go with my Luke Skywalker and I'm not getting orders out to other people, but I really need Luke to go and I want him to go and the other guys are just gonna have to kind of deal with it. Whereas this is like, no, that's kind of what I want. I want the Pike Syndicate soldiers to not get orders and trigger that independent ability. So really, really interesting space that they're exploring here to make list building, just that variety better too, right? So, and like you were saying, being able to put them in other factions just adds to that, right? Right. So you could give orders to your troops within the faction and then leave these guys out to dry, which really isn't
benefits you.
Right.
which is
awesome. So it's just like, it's really going to add some interesting stuff. So I'm really excited to see, like, as they spoil more cards and give us more information, how they're going to go. And just some of these, they have some really interesting weapons, right? Like for the Pike Syndicate too. They got a range 4 gun and then they got an Electro Whip. Like lots of just a cool, interesting stuff. That new, cache.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really like that. It just feels like better, what are they called? The specialists?
Yeah.
The specialists are like a free action that you can just like get an aim or a dodge or something like once before you have to refresh them. This is just like, hey, don't even take the action. You just have it. There you go. Start again whenever you need it. And I'm like, okay. It's kind of. I don't know if it's a better version of that, but it's kind of that.
It's different, right?
Right. It's a version of that.
It's a version of that. You only get it once, right? I mean, unless there's a way that you can eventually put more tokens into, which could be an interesting design space too. We'll see. But it's that same thing, except you don't have to like refresh them to get it back, right? You just pay for it, you get that extra body, you get that extra ability, gonna be useful at some point in the game for you, right? So yeah, really, really kind of cool stuff in what they're doing with these units here. So it'll be interesting to see like what people come up with and how they, pair things together, different interactions that they create in their list building. Really excited to see a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. So there's going to be some interesting plays with putting Bosk and Cad into the faction that they've not been able to be in before. That's going to be fun. We can look at Bosk in the CIS. Who would you pair up with Bosk? Are you pairing him up with like Kalani? Are you putting him with like Super Tac Droid lists or Magna Guard, or like what are you thinking people should run with Bosk? What's the word I want to look for? What complements Bosk in the CIS?
Ooh, that is interesting. And I don't know.
Let me think. Hang on. What were you gonna say? You don't know?
I don't know off the top of my head which droid is which, but let me look really quick. I have it pulled up. Even just like the basic super tactical droid that gives out the suppression and give an aim and a dodge, like that would probably be pretty good for Bosk. Yeah, just the strategize, right, ability on Bosk is actually pretty good. And actually those super tactical droids in general might be the way to go with him because they have at least two command slots, right?
Right.
That they can use. And so I guess it depends on.
And they can help fill in anybody you pair them up with, but they can help fill in the rest of the command card gap that they would leave that Bosk can help fill in.
Yeah.
Because usually if you're playing CIS, you're playing like Count Dooku or Maul, and you have their 3 command cards, and then you're just kind of taking like the 3 generic ones. If you fill in Bosk, Bosk has good command cards. Bosk can really make something happen if you use his cards.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think those super tactical droids are going to be very interesting to pair with those.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. I'm thinking I'm guessing we're going to see some. Everyone's playing around with Kalani right now. I feel like we're going to see some Kalani Bosk lists, and I'm excited. I'm both excited and afraid to see how that goes. What I'm more excited to do is put my Cad Bane in Empire. I don't know how excited you are for that.
Oh man, Cad is just such a interesting and fun character to play.
So much.
Yeah, and putting him in another faction just is going to be very interesting. I feel like in CIS, it seems like a lot of people, if you're going to take that slot, right, you just kind of go with Maul instead. And so it'll be interesting to see where he fits into Empire. I like, Empire doesn't have a ton of Pierce in it. Mm-hmm. So another character with Pierce in there, and it can do all his little shenanigans that he can pull. Yeah, he's going to be really interesting, to see how he pairs up with some of the Empire stuff. I'm excited
Empire's got a bounty on your head.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see them play with the bounty. I mean, I think should be doing this, right? But it's really
absolutely.
interesting for them to play with the bounty hunters and the factions that they can go in and really have them as, kind of hired guns.
So I've done more experimenting with fitting Cad into the Empire than I have fitting Bosk into CIS, for obvious reasons. And I just want to say, and it could be my personal skew on where I'm at, who I like Empire-wise. I think Cad Bane is going to pair up really well with Callus.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because Callus is pretty versatile, where he can be a support, but he can also be a close range threat. And Bane is a really good range 1 to 2 close range threat. Or range melee to 2, honestly, threat. So I think the two of them paired together is going to make some really scary stuff. I did make a mock list of Callus and Bane put together, with the command card that I'd have to put to get Bane in the list involved. I still found a way to make it all work and get everything I wanted, and I think it came out exactly at about 800, or maybe it was 897 or something like that. But I was like, this could work. And it was a pretty scary looking list. I was ready to roll it.
Depending on what Boba looks like, I know.
You want to try and fit Boba and Cat in a list? Oh, that would be dope.
That would be interesting.
Well,
the
only problem is
that both of them give, right? Could be crazy.
Hang on. So, are the old cards for the mercenary still going to be allowed? Is the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good question, actually. I don't even know that.
Yeah, what they come out with.
Will Callus or Vader need to take the 5-point card upgrade in order to take Boba in the first place now? Is there now a 5-point higher tax and a command card slot tax on putting Boba in Empire? Or putting Cad in CIS? Where they belong? Is that still going to be a thing now, or is there a tax now because they're getting reworked? Are those old cards now just eroded away? I don't know. That's actually a good question. We'll just have to find that out.
Yeah. Do I have to take 2 generic commanders with that upgrade
to
be able to take both of them?
Right, because you would only be able to take one of them. Because otherwise, even if you had something like Krennic, who has 2 command slots, you can't put the same command card. Right, you can't put the same upgrade in those slots. Unless, they come out and say you can.
Which then someone like Krennic
cool.
or Veers might actually be a really good commander for if you're trying to
run
a
double bounty
list. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it could be the death of double bounty unless you take 2 generic commanders.
Yeah, which then it's
you're essentially
paying a 50-point tax on your bounty hunters, right?
A 60-point tax for Empire, because you're paying, maybe 55, because you're paying
it's 45.
Oh no, I see where you're getting the math. 50, a 50-point tax just for,
because you'd have to put that 5-point upgrade on them, right? So, I mean, not that officers are bad, but it's
and in fact, I have a great idea for an Empire list that I want to run by you real quick. 1 Imperial officer, 1 Cad Bane, 6 unit of Pikes. Mandalorian Cad Bane. Or not Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett Cad Bane.
That would be crazy. It'll be really interesting to see what... It'll be really interesting to see, as they come out with the rest of the, not come out, show us the rest of the cards. They already have them, right?
You know what? I don't even know if I need the Imperial Officer, actually. I didn't even think about it. I might just be able to take 1 or 2 Capos. I don't know if I need, and then I could just buy in Cad Bane. Oh man, I'm actually really excited about that list now. just run a whole Pike army with Cad Bane and just make it the Book of Boba Fett. Oh, that sounds so fun. I'm getting really excited for Shadow Collective now.
there's gonna be a lot of really fun stuff that you can come up with, and fun army ideas, again, with the bounty hunters being able to switch around and do different things, and it'll be interesting to see. And, I'll be very interested to see what they do when they come out with the rest of Boba's stuff, like how they change him. I'm assuming eventually we're getting Mando at some point, right?
Yep.
So it's like,
Oh, yeah.
it's going to be really interesting to see where they all fit in too. Cause the Mandalorian show, he's on the rebel side of things a lot,
Yeah,
but
kind
he's
of.
still a Mandalorian bounty hunter, right?
Right.
So, like, who else is he going to be able to go with then? It'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see a lot of that stuff. So,
All right, so let's move into our last little topic. It was fun. That's the Shadow Collective stuff. That should be up for pre-order by the time this show drops at your local game store or your website, wherever you're getting your Legion stuff, wherever Legion products are sold. And you should be able to get that stuff hopefully around June until we get a new update on when those are coming out. So moving into our last topic, and we'll start with the Legion front half of it, moving into Adepticon. Adepticon is over. So if you wanted to go and you missed it, I'm sorry, you'll have to wait another year, just like me. But on the Legion side of Adepticon, we had the first major tournament that Legion has had in quite a few months.
yeah.
Some would argue years, debating on where you're coming from and what you feel like. And we had a whole lot of players and a whole lot of craziness happen and a whole lot of off-meta stuff make it to top 8. And I was very excited to see all the stuff that I saw up there. And surprising, no Republic at all in top 8. No Gar made it to top 8 at all. So those of you competitive players looking to chase the meta, go sell all your clones because apparently they're unplayable. and start picking up Cad Bane. So I just want to really quickly run through, I won't deep dive into each of them, but I wanted to quickly highlight the players that made top 8 and their factions and their lists. I'm going to run through them as quickly as we can, so just try to move along here, because then I want to get to hear maybe some of the fun stuff that you did at Adepticon, Paul, because I'm excited. I've been waiting to hear that. So in 8th place, we had Jacob Anderson, who ran a Vader Commander Empire list. So it was Vader, 4 Stormtroopers, 2 Shores, and 2 E-Webs. My kind of list. Fill out those cores and bring those E-Webs. They are great when they pay off. Coming in at number 7 was, I'm going to butcher all these names, by the way, Corey Satili? Satili? I don't know. I'm sorry. But he brought a Kalani and an AAT, Separatist, obviously, 2 Dwarf Spider Droids, 1 unit of Magna Guard, and then 5 B1s with various upgrades and PKs in there. And then we have Danny Trujillo. Man, I should have thought about saying people's names back before I did it, because now I'm going to butcher them all, and now I just feel bad. And he brought my kind of list. I'm gonna be saying that a bunch. An AA5 with Wedge as his commander. Operative Luke Skywalker, R2D2, and 3PO. I think 3PO. Maybe not. I'll have to look at the points. It doesn't say whether or not 3PO is in this or correctly or not. 2 units of fleets with scatterguns. My man. 2 Rebel Troopers, naked, no upgrades, and then 3 Wookiee Warriors with tenacity and offensive push. That's a beefy, scary list. But
yeah, it is.
That's Luke AA5 if I ever heard of it. Then we had Lupo. Lupo came in at number 5, and he came in with CIS. He brought Count Dooku with a whole bunch of upgrades, 6 B1s, 2 Magna Guards, and a strike team and a Pear Tree. So that was fun. That was a fun list. That's good. Good CIS Count Dooku gun line. And then number 4, 5th Troopers, Evan Bolris. By the way, should say 5th Trooper did the coverage of Adepticon. I think their stream, they did a great job. They had great coverage of a lot of the games. They even had, I don't know if you saw it, Paul, the less than 1% chance of the round 1 matchup where they had Luke Cook and Kyle Dornbos play. That was insane. Great game to watch. Anyway, number 4, Evan Bolris, my man. Director Krennic was his lead with Operative Vader, who had a ton of upgrades. Then he came in with Shore Troopers, a Mortar, a Stormtrooper, a Death Trooper, 2 strike teams, and a LAT with Baron Rudor. So that LAT was obviously Vader's means of transportation, and he made top 4. So those of you that shelved your lat after a week after it came out, go break it back out and figure out what Evan's doing with it. So then after that, number 3, we've got Matt Bronson, who played Rebels. He has 2 Vigilance up generic Rebel officers with Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, operative Luke Skywalker with a bunch of upgrades. 5 Rebel troopers, all with DLTs, Rebel captains, and situational awareness. Whew, I love that lineup.
Many dodges.
So many dodges that are staying. They're staying for the rest of the game. And then 2 commando strike teams as well. For snipers, obviously. And then number 2, the big upset. Luke Cook didn't finish first. And everyone wants to say that he got diced out, and I feel like that's a mean thing to say to Gorsht. Okay, I'm gonna butcher his name, so I guess that's a mean thing too. But the guy who won, it's kind of mean to say like he's gonna outplay his victory. He earned it. Anyway, so Luke Cook came in with Empire, and it was a different take on the 3-3-3. It was not the third 3 that you thought. He came in with 2 shores, 2 mortars. Iden Versio, I should have said, sorry. Iden Versio with her gun. I believe the ID-10 droid was there as well. 2 shores, 2 mortars. Inferno Squad, not generic ISF, but Inferno Squad with Del Meeko, Gideon Hask, and offensive push. 2 generic Imperial Special Forces with the T-21 on offensive push. And then 3, that's right, 3 speeder bikes. So he made triple bikes work, and he brought it to top 2 of Adepticon. So break out those speeder bikes again. Empire's coming back.
There's a lot of firepower in that list.
There is a lot of firepower in that list. It's very scary. And then number 1, the absolute winner of Adepticon was Gorsht. What language am I speaking here? I'm not sure. With Commander Kalani, operative Cad Bane. That's right, Cad Bane won Adepticon. My man! That's the last time I'm going to say it, sorry. And then 6 B1 battle droids with various upgrades. 1 of them with HQ uplink, 2 of them with E5Cs, 2 of them with E5Ss. 2 dwarf spider droids, and a Magna Guard unit. So that's a quick speed through rundown of what made top 8 in Adepticon. So that's a little tiny sneak preview into what we could see for the rest of the competitive meta going forward. Alright, if you were just here for Legion content, that's pretty much going to be a wrap there. Paul, I would love for you to regale some tales of what you had as far as fun at Adepticon, because unlike me, you got to go.
Yeah, I did go. Adepticon is one that I have been going to for a while, and there was a hiatus, right? And there are a lot of people who are glad to be back. I did not play Legion this time for the first time since Legion was at Adepticon. I was there at Ground Zero when they were doing just the out of the box like play the first year. The little events that they did there, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, so I went back, didn't play Legion this time. I did walk by and check it out and saw some people playing through. Got to talk with some of the guys who were doing the like narrative Legion. That was run by a Chicago local guy, Kyle Toth. And the guys that were playing in that, and I forgive me, I forget what it's called, but they've been doing it a couple of years now, and everyone said that they had an absolute blast and doing some fun, interesting stuff with that. So it's a very limited group that can play that version. So if you ever get a chance at Adepticon, I would encourage you to check it out. The stories that I heard from that were just awesome. Stuff like, an Acklay popping up in the middle and just going nuts and attacking, stormtroopers that came by and droids that came by and stuff. So yeah, lots of really cool, interesting stuff, blowing up, gaunt droids that are on the board and things like that. So yeah, definitely check it out. Adepticon is one of those events that, has just, it's all war games everywhere. And there's so many different games being played and tons of halls is full of tables with people playing. But yet again, it seems very intimate as far as conventions go, you're not going to get lost in the vendor hall like you can at Gen Con.
Right.
Adepticon, you can go, you can spend a day looking around at the vendor hall, doing demos. That's what we did the first day. And then in the evening we played in an Arena Rex tournament. And, so you can still, you can see everything, and still play in a bunch of events. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, Thursday night I played Arena Rex. It was a 3v3v3 Arena Rex event. So there were 3 players at every table, or every mat, whatever that was out, and each person had 3 cards, which is essentially 3 characters that you're playing in Arena Rex. And so it's just kind of like a free for all with some interesting scenarios that they make, every year for it. And, I actually ended up winning that one. I don't know how, cause I don't play Arena Rex a ton. So, had some really good close games and some fun opponents. And, that game and the people who run that game do such a phenomenal job at their events, and they support their game so much, as far as prize support and stuff. A lot of people walked away with prize support for that, including myself. Like, I was able to get, a gift certificate for their shop for $50. Like,
that's awesome.
For playing in that event. And that wasn't like the only prize that was worth that much. There were other people who walked away with like starter sets that are like $45 and things like that. So, a lot of people walked away with models and dice and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, they do a really nice job. It's always a ton of fun. People, hoop and holler and just having a good time with that.
That's what you want at the end of the day.
It's one of those games too. It's just very simple. It's, you roll 6-sided dice, and on a 4-up you succeed, on a 1 through 3 you don't. Like, it's just all 50-50 chances, and so it's a lot about your positioning and just using some of your special abilities. But it's a really, really fun little game. Enjoyed myself thoroughly for that. Friday night Friday, the whole day, I guess, I played, Lord of the Rings, Games Workshop. I guess it's called Middle Earth now, not Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
But
I guess
there was a doubles event for that. And so, I actually played with, Joe DePinto.
Yay.
We got together. Yeah, we haven't,
Hope
been
you're
able to
listening,
see each
Joe.
other. Yeah, we haven't been able to see each other for a while, so I talked to him and we decided we were going to go ahead and do doubles, and we ran, for those of you who are Lord of the Rings fans as well, we ran like a Pelennor Fields themed one on the evil side. Joe ran a Mumok, the giant elephants from Lord of the Rings, and I had 3 ringwraiths flying on their fell beasts, they're flying lizard dragons, whatever you want to call them. Yeah.
Sounds terrifying.
We had a good time. We actually only won one of our 3 games. But I think we finished 13th out of like, 30 or something teams. So we did pretty well. For first time, I think that was Joe's like first, like, kind of big event for Lord of the Rings like that. So, we were just having a good time rolling some dice, played some really cool people, enjoyed all of our games.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, I went back this year. I hadn't done this for probably 4 years, essentially since Legion came out, and I played in the Lord of the Rings, singles tournament, which is a 2-day, 6-game tournament. Everyone plays both days. Everyone plays 6 games. And so, yeah, I played, a list of that. I had been working on a kind of like color scheme for the army that I used. It was a fall theme, so lots of yellows, oranges, reds, and did a lot of like fall like leaves and stuff on the ground for like the bases of my models and things like that. So I had been working on that and planning that for a while, so I did that in a display board for the first time. Got some nice pointers and tips from the terrain studio, and Sean helped me out, and watched some of his videos and stuff and got some pointers from him. So I would encourage anybody who wants to jump into some of that to check out some of those videos. He's got some really awesome tips, tricks, and things. And I'll tell you, even somebody I had no idea what I was doing, and at some point I was just throwing things on my board. And I think it ended up turning out pretty well. I mean, I had a lot of people that stopped by and said that they really liked it, and other people who were at the convention, not even in the Lord of the Rings event, stopped by and were like, "Oh, I really like this board." And so, it worked out. Sometimes I think that's one thing Sean has said before is sometimes just tossing stuff on there like that makes it more realistic than really trying to, I have to put this one thing exactly in this one spot or, anything like that. So that was fun. It was fun to do the hobby aspect of it too, going into Adepticon. Having that time crunch of, I want to get this ready for Adepticon because I want to take it and I want it to be cool.
You were doing that so much. Like every time I talk to you, you're just like, "Hey man, I'm working on my stuff for Adepticon."
Yeah. I always procrastinate a little too much, but no, it was a lot of fun. And, now I have it and I have a glass display case where I keep some of my armies for my miniature games and stuff, and that display board fits right in there on one of the shelves, and so it's now moved into the shelf and
Perfect.
looks cool in there. So yeah, no, it was a good time. There were so many games that I wanted to play. There was all kinds of stuff going on. And people have some really awesome like display boards. A highlight of one that I'm going to mention, and I'm sorry, I don't even think you would ever listen to this. I don't even know if anybody related to him would even listen to this. So, but we were in the Lord of the Rings stuff was in the same hall as an Age of Sigmar, like
event?
in the same hall, event there.
Okay.
This one guy had built a display board that was divided into 4 corners, and it had like 4 little chunks of different armies in it.
Cool.
And each corner was a different holiday, and it was painted and modified for different holidays. He had like
It was a Nightmare Before Christmas over here.
Yes, there was a Halloween one, and like there was like skeletons and pumpkin heads and things like that. There was a Christmas one that had a little like house with lights on it, and like people like looking kind of like elves and
this was
Santas.
a display board?
Yeah, it was just a little display board.
It wasn't like a game map or anything.
No, it was just a little display board.
But that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, I think the Halloween one was I think there were dragons, and so the dragons were also like headless horsemen. So the heads of the dragon riders were like the pumpkin heads. Yeah, it was so cool. And the one that was the most hilarious and was my favorite part of that board. He had an Easter one, and he had these guys that were that had like big like maces or mauls. And the top of them, he converted them to be eggs, Easter eggs that were painted like Easter eggs. Oh, it was so good. And the last corner was like a 4th of July one, and it was it was like this big giant carrying like a bucket of like fireworks that were like shooting out over everything. I'll have to see if I can send a picture or post it up on Facebook or something.
Cool.
It was so cool. Like there are so many cool people with so many interesting things, and it was really cool to go look at the Golden Demon entries for all the different games, there are some amazing
then make
painters.
yourself feel like the worst painter on earth.
Oh, right. I was like, I feel like I did pretty well on my display board, and then I go look at Golden Demon, and I'm like, I should just burn all of this.
I'm embarrassed to even bring anything to this event now.
Yeah, no, there was some really, really good stuff, and it's fun to be at that event and be able to check out all those things and just walk around and see all the people playing. I saw a Halo game being played. At one point
I heard they were getting a miniatures game.
I was like, "Excuse me, what's that?" And they were one that had a really, like, the table that they were playing on had a giant, like, ship, like it was like a giant mothership, just like over all the tables.
Oh, that's crazy.
And they were playing like on the tables that were like, buildings and of a town.
Cool.
And yeah,
I'd love to watch that played.
I would so overall, Adepticon is a lot of fun. Very affordable. I feel like there's good food around the area. It's not in a crazy busy area where you have to, worry too much. I mean, parking's busy because it's a convention, right?
Yeah.
But we were able to find a parking spot every day that we went. Like, there wasn't an issue with that. And there's some areas that you can go around. I would encourage anybody who is, into wargaming especially, go and check out Adepticon. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot going on for being a small, I say small convention. I mean, small compared to some of the really big ones that you can go to. But again, it's all focused around miniature games, and
yes.
it's a lot of fun, a lot of cool people. Everybody that I met was awesome. I didn't have any issues with anybody that I played in my games. It was a good time hanging out with a lot of people, and I'm waiting for you to come one of these times, Ben.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to come next time. My plan is to hopefully come next time.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I'm definitely, it was one of those things. I think I started going 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm gonna go every year. It's one of those.
It's to you what Gen Con is to me. Where it's like I've been going for years, and I just want to bring more people now.
Yeah, and I went to Gen Con for the first time last year. Can't wait. I'm going again this year.
Yep.
It's just different, right? Like Gen Con is massive, and I went on the slow year, so I know that it's going to be even bigger. I spent multiple days walking through the vendor hall at Gen Con, and yeah, it's just a different
see everything, I bet.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. And didn't get all the demos in that I wanted to or anything like that. So yeah, it's they're definitely different things, but both good for their own parts. But definitely, if you're interested in mini war games and you want to go and participate in some events, Adepticon, go for it. Chicago's a cool place to visit. There are some other, like touristy kind of things that you can do in Chicago, not far from where that convention center is. So if you're traveling, a long way and want to spend some extra time, yeah, I would definitely go do it. Go have some good food, some good times playing some games. And yeah, and hopefully we'll run into some of you there.
Awesome. I would love that. Well, Paul, I'll ask one last question based on Adepticon. Did you secure any more world champion titles under your belt of any other games?
No, I did not. I guess I didn't say that. I think I finished 13th in the singles for the Middle Earth game as well. 6 games I went 4-2. Some really, really good, really close games, especially towards the end there. A lot of good players, a lot of variety of armies and stuff. But no, considering having been playing for a while, I'll take it. I'll take 4-2. Definitely better than what I expected to going into it for sure. Or what my personal goal for myself was on that one. So. Right. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And enjoyed the time there at Adepticon and can't wait for next year to go back again.
All right. Well, that's great. I hope everybody gets a chance to go visit Adepticon if you get the chance, because I've heard so many great stories of so many awesome events that gets run there. I would have been there myself but the only reason I didn't is because I just moved, and ever since I moved, life has been absolutely nonstop crazy. And when that slows down by the time of Gen Con, I should be back on track. So hopefully I'll be able to go to Adepticon next year. Maybe we can host some kind of event or give out some more of our alt art cards that we can, our convention staple. I sent Bob to Adepticon with some of those cards. So maybe if you were there and you saw Bob, who I don't think played Legion either, but was definitely hanging out and would have at least seen the Legion players. Hopefully maybe if you saw Bob, he might have given you some of those cards. That or he just conned me out of a bunch of them, and now he has a bunch. In his own.
I will tell you, I did run into Bob on a couple different occasions, and I did see Bob giving cards out to people.
Oh, that's
so he didn't just con you out of all of them. I actually saw him pass them out.
If you're listening to the podcast now for the first time because Bob gave you an alt art card, props to Bob. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to go ahead and wrap this show, Paul, unless you got anything else. So we talked about the League, we talked about Shadow Collective coming out, and we talked about Adepticon. I'm super excited for the future of all three of those things.
Me too. I'm excited to see where we're at in a couple more months, but we'll definitely have some more to talk about next time, I'm sure.
All right, so I'm going to send you some coordinates for where we're going to meet up, and for no discernible reason, I'm not going to verbally confirm with you what that planet is. I'm just going to give you coordinates and hope for the best.
Here we go again. If I get stuck on another icy planet like this, I'm not going to be happy.
No. Just don't read the 6 as a 9 and you're good. All right. That'll be it for now. This is going to be Dice Time signing up. I hope everybody had a dice time today listening, and I hope that you have a dice time going forward, playing all the fun games that we're going to be playing here soon. I'm Ben Jetron.
I'm Paul Watson.
Go out and make today even better. Have a good night.